Hello, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. Today I'm going to tell you how can you craft unlimited stimpaks, radaways and radshields. Let's begin. Hey everyone, do you ever run out of stimpaks, radaways? Yes, no, maybe? Well, it doesn't really matter what is your answer because these items are highly in value. This means that you can use them as well as sell them to NPC vendors or other players. You can always get profit out of them. So I'm going to start by letting you know how can you get the recipes if you don't have them yet. Then I will tell you some essential perks to better achieve results. And then I will move on to let you know what you need to farm, where to go, and how can you craft everything. For now, let's jump into the recipes part. If you have the 3 recipes, then you can skip this small section. If you don't, that's fine because I'm going to show you where you can find the 3 recipes. You can head to the Enclave's medical bay to find the Stimpak and the Radaway recipes. If you enter from the back, the medical bay is right here. If you turn in the stairs at the beginning, it's near the science wing. And it's easy noticeable by all the robots with the aid symbols on them. As you can see, you will find the recipe for Radaway in Stimpak here. They are a little bit expensive, so I suggest you to equip hard bargain as much as possible. If you have rank 3, that's ideal because you can save up to 100 caps each recipe, so that's always great. For the Radshield, you need to do the inorganic solution mission. If you don't know how to start or do it, then feel free to check my guide. I have one in the channel as well. Now let's check everything we need to craft to, well, create all these things. First of all, you're going to need antiseptic for all of them, as well as some purified water. We're going to need some thick blood for the blood packs. Then we're going to need some steel as well as some plastic. And in case of the Radaway, we need a glowing fungus. But don't worry, it's not so difficult to get. Also for the Radshield, we're going to need some Strangler bloom. That's not so easy, but I will show you a trick later on. And that's pretty much everything we need for crafting these 3 recipes. Let's move on to where you need to go to farm everything. Alright, so before we move on to the actual locations to farm, I suggest you to look into your perks because there are several ways to increase the results and save you time, resources and everything else. For example, Green Thumb will double your efforts when you are gathering flora, and that's really something we want here because that will allow you to get more with less resources. Also, Super Duper is something I usually equip when I'm crafting something, especially in mass, because it doubles your chance to get double results when you are crafting anything. It works for any craft that you do, including gems, of course. Then we have Scrapper, which works for certain circumstances, such as scrapping weapons. I will show you a trick later on how to get certain resources from weapons. And then we have Chemist, which is also very useful, well, when you are crafting chems, and that's exactly what we are going to do in this guide. So remember these 4 perks, and if you have them, that's really great. You can just equip them in the right occasions. If you don't, and if you have the points to do so, and you really need to farm medicine on a regular basis, then I really suggest you to get them as soon as possible. If not, you can still follow the guide without having these perks. It might just take a little bit more time and some server jumpings, but that's part of Fallout 76 life. I will present you some more useful perks when you are farming. You might get over encumbered very easily, and that's when you want to equip these strength perks called Strong Pack or Traveling Pharmacy. They will easily give you more inventory space and allow you to, well, fast travel, to go back to your camp, to go to a station and sell stuff. It is very wise. Also, don't forget hard bargain when you are heading to NPC vendors because it gives you more money when you are selling and it makes things cheaper when you are buying. Let's start with one of the easiest things to farm, which is antiseptic and thick blood. You can get both from thicks, and my favorite spot is here at Tollisod's Wilderness, but keep in mind that there are many spots in game to farm thicks. Some of them are not fixed and I stayed away from these. I have included 5 locations to farm thicks in this guide and all of them are fixed. I excluded the static ones because it's quite bothersome to go there and encounter something else. Just a quick note here, you can usually find 5 thicks in this location, sometimes less, it really depends. So the second place is right here. It's around Harper's Ferry and it's part of the Pioneer Scouts daily missions. I found out this place by doing the daily and you can usually find several thicks in here and that's pretty handy. Also don't forget you can server jump in every single location that I'm presenting here. You will always find thicks unless someone has killed them already. They are fixed spots, so you don't have to worry to find something else. For the third location, you might want to go to Vault 76 because it's free, and then head to the Moonshiner's Shack right at the south. And for farming thicks, I advise you to take antibiotics because they can easily infect you with diseases, especially parasites, and it's really annoying to be taking disease cures all the time. Anyway, you can usually find 4 to 5 thicks in here. It's a very nice place to farm them, so don't mark it out from your list of farming antiseptic and thick blood. If you head a little bit to the south, you will find more thicks at the Gilman Lumber Mill. It's also a starter's zone and you can find around 5 thicks here as well, or well, they will find you. They are not always in the same position here, so just take a look inside the shacks, inside, around, on top, you know, until you find them. If you don't, that means someone has just killed them and you should probably server jump, but this is a fixed spot for thicks as well. The last fixed spot I have for you is Point Pleasant, where you can often find 3 to 4 thicks around the way. When you fast travel, you will usually find the first here at the bridge, and then if you go to the Mootman statue here, you will often find 2 to 3 thicks. And that's pretty much what I have for you when it comes to farming antiseptic and thick blood. Don't forget to server jump if you need more. Now that we have some antiseptic and thick blood which don't spoil, it's time to get other components that don't spoil as well. This way we keep the ones that spoil for last place. We are going to need some steel and some plastic, so I advise you to go to your junk tab and then enter on steel and plastic to mark them. This will allow you to farm items with steel and plastic much more easily. Of course, there are many places to farm steel and plastic, but I advise you to go to Watauga because there are many ways to do it in here. First of all, you can start by killing the robots around. There are dozens of them, and they will often drop steel from 1 to 3 steel each. So that's a great way to earn experience while farming something you need here, which is steel. But that's not the only way you can get steel quite fast. There are 2 other ways that will almost immediately allow you to get as much steel as you need. I'm going to show you how to get steel through 2 different ways, which you can do at the same time. I suggest you to head here to the Watauga Civic Center because first you have tons of containers which you can find steel. Just look for the magnifying glass near items. That means they either have plastic or steel, which you have marked or should have marked in the section before this one. Then kill the scorched and pick up their weapons. This is very important because later we're going to scrap them, and as you will see, they drop a lot of steel when you scrap them. Just keep an eye for items, and I will show you 2 rooms with a lot of steel, and that's kitchen areas. when you see kitchen areas, just go for it because they normally have a lot of pots and, cooking containers that are made of steel. And in here, you might also need to equip some perks for inventory space because they weigh quite a bit. The same goes for weapons. So if you are getting over encumbered, don't forget to switch to the perks that I mentioned earlier, especially the pack one. Traveling pharmacy won't do anything for steel items, unfortunately. So pick as much as you think you need, and then you should head to your base or to a workbench where you can scrap all of these items. For tons of plastic, you should head to the Watauga High School because they have a cafeteria area where you can get dozens, about 100 of plastic every run. But don't forget that this is a 24-hour spawn. Once you get it, you cannot server jump at all. So make sure to get all the plastic you can find in this area. If you don't find any, just server jump until you find a server with plastic items where they are supposed to be. You can also kill the enemies around and get their items if you still need more steel, or collect items around that might contain steel. Don't forget to look for the magnifying glass, and don't forget to check the kitchen area and also the upper eating zone, which is just up these stairs. You'll find a few more tables with tons of plastic to scrap for molded plastic. Before farming the last components, I suggest you to head to a tinker's workbench and scrap all the materials that you have, because you surely have tons of steel and plastic right now. And don't forget the weapons you have collected. You need to equip Scrapper first, the perk in intelligence, then go ahead and start scrapping all the normal weapons you have collected. And as you can see, it gives you a lot of steel. And if you are overweight, go ahead and craft some bulks because that saves a lot of storage or inventory space. Lastly, you will need some purified water, and you need to, create some of these purifiers, which you can find in the water section in your camp. But if you already have them, then don't pick the water for now unless you need it for drinking. Leave it for later because you will be saving some inventory space. Now let me show you how can you farm the glowing fungus and the strangler bloom. Let's start with the last because it's somewhat easier and you don't need as much. You should head to Dyer's Chemical, but it needs to be night and you will have to server jump probably a few times because they won't be blooming always. It's not a very common event. So here, as you can see, it's nighttime, and don't forget your green thumb to get twice per gathering. And you'll find several Strangle blooms across the river in these orange-brown trees. You just have to follow the river and head for the glowing things in the trees. And as you can see, I'm getting 2 per gathering. You just have to follow this path from the fast travel spawn. And usually there are 5 Strangler blooms in here. If you use the green thumb perk, you will get 10 per run, which is a really decent number. The glowing fungus is quite ordinary. Some people think it's not so easy to farm, but it is. For example, at Wendigo's Cave, you can find tons of it. You just have to follow the paths, and look, there is green everywhere. And if you use the green thumb perk, you will be filled with glowing fungus in your inventory. However, it spoils very fast, so make sure to gather as much as you need and head back to your camp or a workbench, a chemistry 1, to craft your radaways, otherwise it will spoil really fast. Now, I put Wendigo's Cave as the first location, not by chance, but because I think it's probably the best location in game. Not because it is so easy to navigate, that's far from it, but if you know where you're going, you can find dozens of these fungus across the cave. If you don't mind fighting strong enemies and getting lost, then you should definitely come here to farm your glowing fungus. The Hawk's Refuge is probably my favorite place because it's a very small cave and it has plenty of glowing fungus inside. At least it's normally enough for me when I want to craft radaways. However, this is not such a great place for new players or low-level players because the ghouls inside will probably kill you very easily. Nonetheless, I love it because it's a very small place, it has enough glowing fungus for me, and it's a quick run. So it's a win-win situation for me. If you have just started the game or if you are playing a low-level character, I suggest you to come here to the Abandoned Waste Dump because you can usually find low-level dead claws, well, considering they are level 40 normally. And there is plenty of glowing fungus in this cave. There is also brain fungus, so if you'd like to make some soup or something else, you might as well pick them up. And don't forget dead claws, you should kill them or avoid them altogether, but don't forget to do what you need to do. Pick these damn glowing fungus before you leave. A very good place to farm glowing fungus is also here at Heaven's Church, where you will usually find a few scorched around, but you can find tons of fungus in the way around the church. You don't need to go inside, you just need to look around, search for the light, vivid green stuff on the ground, not the grass, just the fungus, and you should get plenty for your Radaway crafting. Lastly, as the fifth location, I have Fort Defiance, and this is the worst location of them all to farm glowing fungus. You should look for the parts that are completely destroyed and they're like some sort of small caves. You will often find glowing and brain fungus there. But I have chosen Fort Defiance for a second reason. If you have done the Brotherhood of Steel missions, you will have access to the top level, where you can find this kitchen area with a decent amount of plastic, which you kind of need. So you might come here to farm both glowing fungus and plastic at once. It's just an idea or a suggestion. After farming the last components, it's time to head back to your camp and start scrapping everything you have left and retrieve everything you need from your stash. Make sure to get all these junk items scrapped, like antiseptic and steel and plastic. Don't forget to collect some purified water as well, because we're going to need it. And if you have some weapons left, make sure to equip the scrapper perk and then start scrapping all the weapons that you have to get more results or more components from them. Then it's time to finally head to the Chemist's bench and start crafting some blood packs. That's what you need first in order to craft stimpaks. So use your thick blood, your antiseptic, and start crafting. For radaways, you're going to need antiseptic again, the glowing fungus, plastic, and purified water. You should have plenty of each component, so feel free to craft as much as you need. For the steam packs, you always need to get some blood packs first, so get that in order. And finally, for the Radshields, you need the antiseptic, the plastic, the purified water, and the Strangler bloom that we got from Dyer's Chemical. Keep in mind that Radshields cannot really be found in the world, at least I don't remember ever picking them up. They are a stronger version of Rad-X. They also suppress your mutations, but they give you more defense against radiation. So when you are going into nuked zones, such as Scorch Earth to do the Queen, using a Radshield might just save the day. I am using these lately and it is really worth the time to craft them. They are much more powerful than Rad-X, and it will also prevent you from using as many radaways or coming to your camp to use the decontamination shower. Anyway, if you end up with too many medicine, you might as well just give some to your friends or strangers across Appalachia. That's how can you craft as many Stimpaks, Radaways, and Radshields as you want for your journeys. I have decided to make this complete guide because lately with the high capacity backpack mods, I have been running out of radaways because I need to use them all the time. Also, radshields help me to receive less radiation from all sorts of sources, including ghouls. They are a pain in the ass for me. And I have also received several questions or requests from you guys about how to farm and craft Stimpaks. As such, I decided to make these complete guides, making everything together, the 3 of them, so there's nothing missing for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and found the information here useful. I hope you can craft as much as you need, and that's going to be everything for today's video. I am Marta Branco. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new around and you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below to help me grow. Also, if you would like to support me even further, I have a Patreon page, so feel free to check it out. Thank you again everyone for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Adeus! Bye bye!